Hi guys, it's Jess and welcome back to my channel. Today I am coming at you with a book tag video. I really enjoy doing these videos. I think they're always so much fun. And I've seen the reader problems book tag floating around quite a lot lately, so I thought I was gonna get involved and just have my say. Why not? So grab yourself a cheeky cup of tea, get your favourite blanket, get all cosy and sit back and relax while I answer some of these questions. I'm actually going to put my cup of tea down because I've already spilt it over myself once already this morning, so we'll just leave that there. I will quickly apologise for the terrible lighting. It is so dark outside. It's 9:30 in the morning, but honestly it still feels like it could be 7 or 8 o'clock. It is horrendously dark. There is no sunshine at all, so I've had to deal with my crappy room lighting. Hopefully it doesn't affect the video too much. I'm really sorry, but yeah. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump straight into the question. Let me just turn the brightness down on this because bloody hell. Alright, so the first question is, you have 20,000 books on your TBR. How in the world do you decide what to read next? I mean, does anyone really have 20,000 books on their TBR? It seems pretty unrealistic to me, but okay. I have like 400 plus books on my TBR in general, and I don't read every single one of them. I'm going to come out and say it now. I'm a terrible reader. I don't read every single book that I put on my TBR on Goodreads or whatever. I just don't, because I can't keep up basically. But I like to make a plan every month of the books that I want to prioritise. A lot of those books are either like arcs or books for challenges or books that I've been asked to review. So I kind of prioritise those, and then sometimes I will just kind of go with how I feel. I will just pick a book based on my mood. It really depends, but I usually just go with books that I need to read, that I've been asked to read or something like that first, and then once they're out of the way I kind of just, see where my mood takes me. Question 2 is, you're halfway through a book and you're just not loving it. Do you quit or are you committed? I'm really bad at DNFing books, and I DNF'd quite a few last year. I mean, I didn't DNF. I DNF'd under 10 books last year, so it wasn't loads, but it was quite a lot for me, considering years previous I used to just push on with a book, and I want to get better at that this year. I don't want to be wasting my time reading books that just aren't doing anything for me, but I am one of those people that will try and commit myself to the end of a book. I don't know. I'm terrible. I need to stop. I know I need to stop. But it's really hard, especially if I want to give a review. I want to give honest reviews about everything that I read. And I feel like I can't do that if I DNF something. But I can always explain reasons why I DNF something. So at the minute, I'm a committed reader, but I want to be a quitter. I've never said that before in my life, but in terms of reading books, I want to quit something if I'm not enjoying it, and that is one of my goals for 2021. So, question 3 is, the end of the year is coming and you're so close, but so far away on your Goodreads reading challenge. Do you try to catch up, and how? I mean, I've been pretty consistent with all of my reading challenges for the last 3 years. I haven't really struggled to catch up in any way because I've set quite realistic goals for myself. I think if I was struggling a little bit, if I did want to try and catch up, then I would go for like smaller books because they don't take a lot of time to read. They're generally really easy to read as well. And if you read several of those throughout the year, it does help bump up your numbers. But this year I don't want to be worrying too much about numbers anyway. I want to read for enjoyment. I mean, I've set myself the goal to read 52 books this year. But you know, if it gets to November and I've still only read 10, then I mean, I'm not going to catch up anyway. But I'm not even going to worry about it, to be honest, because there are more important things to worry about. And reading should be fun. Question 4 is, the covers of a series you love do not match. How do you cope? I don't really have a lot of book series on my shelf, so I don't really struggle with this. But yeah, it would annoy me if the covers didn't match. So I generally tend to kind of wait until the majority of the books are out in the series, or you know, like they do those series bundle things. So I have A Song of Ice and Fire up there, and I bought all 7 books together. They were all kind of clumped together in like a box set. So they all have matching covers. So I'd probably wait for something like that to come along. But yeah, I'm trying to be one of those people that's like, you know, the cover doesn't matter. It's still the same story. But I like pretty covers, not just for series, but for any book in general. I will try and get a book with the cover I want. I don't think I would cope very well if I didn't have matching book covers for books in a series. Question 5 is, everyone and their mother loves a book you really don't like. Who do you bond with over shared feelings? I have this quite a lot. There are a few books that are really popular online that I just really don't care for. And I feel like the only person in the world that doesn't like that book. So when I do find someone with the same opinion, it is like the gates of heaven have opened up and welcomed me. But yeah, generally I will just, you know, if I see somebody online who, you know, has the same opinion as me on that particular book, then I will try and bond with them over it. But I don't hold anything against anybody if they don't like my favourite books. You know, that's what makes the book community so wonderful, is that everybody has so many different opinions on things and not everybody is going to like the same thing. So I'm very accepting of that. And, you know, I just try and like, you know, discuss my reasoning with people and I listen to their side of things, and you know, we all agree to disagree. So but yeah, if there's somebody who has the same opinion as me, then that's great, and I try and strike up a conversation with them. But you know, whatever. Question 6 is, I've just pressed a button that shouldn't have been pressed. Question 6 is, you're reading a book and you are about to start crying in public. How do you deal? I mean, I don't really read in public these days because I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, I don't really cry at books. I don't really cry at films, other than Marley and Me and the end of the TV show Merlin. That had me in tears back in the day. But I mean, if I was crying on a bus while I was reading a book, I don't think I'd be that ashamed. You know, I would just, you know, I could imagine myself, like I'm just sat on the bus and I'm reading a really sad book and I've got a bit of a tear going on and somebody's looking over at me. I think I'd just be like, you know, just reading this book, you should read it. You know, go and read it, it's really good. I think that's what I would be like, but I don't know. Unless I ever find myself in that situation, I'll let you know if I do. Yeah. I always feel like my answers are terrible to these questions, but you know, we're gonna go with it. Question 7 is, a sequel of a book you loved just came out, but you've forgotten a lot from the prior novel. Will you reread the book, skip the sequel, try to find a synopsis on Goodreads, cry in frustration? I mean, this happens to me a lot because I never keep up with series. There are so many like first books that I have read and I just haven't read the sequels and they've been out for years. So I definitely know that I will have forgotten like what has happened in those first books. But I'm quite good at keeping notes on things. You know, I use Goodreads quite a lot, so I probably would refer back to Goodreads, read the synopsis of the first book, read my review of it, so I can kind of figure out, you know, how I felt about it and the kind of things that piqued my interest in that story. I might reread a book. It depends on how dedicated I am to that series. You know, if I really, really do want to read it, then I might reread the first book. I don't know, it's not really a situation that I found myself in, because I tend to read more standalones than series these days, but again, that's something that I want to change this year. So we'll see how I get on. Yeah, that's that. Question 8 is, you do not want anyone borrowing your books. How do you politely tell people no when they ask? I don't really borrow my books out to people anyway, because I'm very protective of them, and I know that's such a materialistic thing to say because they're just books, and they are going to get, you know, a bit of wear and tear over time. But I just don't trust people. I don't trust people to bring them back in good condition. I mean, I treat my books terribly anyway, because I am one of those people that will dog ear a page if I can't find a bookmark. I'm one of those people that will crack the spine because I like to have my book open flat when I'm reading. You know, my dust jackets on hardbacks get torn because I just take them off when I'm reading it and I just throw them somewhere. I am terrible. I treat my books really badly. I'm really sorry, but it's different because it's me, you know? Like, they're my things, so I can treat them how I want. If I give them to somebody else and they return the book to me in a worse state than what it was when I gave it to them, then I'd be really pissed off. So I don't really lend my books out. Only to a few people, like family members and really close friends that I do trust, I will lend them out. But generally, I don't really do it. It's not something that I get asked quite often because I don't really know that many readers in real life. So question 9 is, you've picked up and put down 5 books in the last month. How do you get over your reading slump? So reading slumps for me tend to happen because of like external things that are going on. So I was in a very big reading slump for about 3 months last year during the first national lockdown that we had, because that just really affected me mentally and I just lost all motivation to do things that I love. Same again with the second national lockdown in November. I was in a bit of a slump for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I've just kind of come to accept the fact that I'm not always going to be in the mood to read. I used to force myself to read every day. I used to force myself to read books that I weren't interested in because I had a goal to reach, or I had a video to make, or, you know, whatever it was. Whereas now I'm just kind of like, you know what, I don't feel like reading today, and that's fine. And if I go through periods, you know, if I go through weeks and weeks of not reading anything, I'm not going to beat myself up about it anymore. You know, I don't want to read to the point that it becomes a chore and that I don't enjoy it. So it happened as well in July. I read like 9 books in July last year, which was the most I'd read in 1 month in 2020 at that point. And then in August, because I was so burned out from reading so much the month before, I only read like 3 books in August. So yeah, I don't want to be like burning myself out too much, but I kind of have to recognise the fact that, okay, a reading slump's happening. Let's just go and do other stuff that I want to do for the time being, and I will get back into reading. It will happen, you know. It's just one of those things that needs to come naturally. So I'm cool with reading slumps, you know. They're fine. They're gonna happen. We're just gonna deal with it. And then I didn't actually answer the question, but in terms of getting over a reading slump, I would just, you know, try and find books that, you know, interests me, that I really want to read, or I might reread a book. Audiobooks are really good as well. I find that listening to audiobooks while I'm doing other things helps me get out of my reading slump as well. So yeah, things like that. Question 10 is, there are so many new books coming out that you're dying to read. How many do you actually buy? So I'm terrible at this because there are always loads of new releases that I want to read, that I want to get my hands on, but I never actually do, or if I do, then I would probably only buy like 5 or 6 of them because I can't keep up, you know. There are tons of new, really exciting, really interesting books coming out every month, you know, and I see them on BookTube and on Goodreads all the time, and you know, I'm adding them to my list, but then more come along and it just piles up, and I'm not even going to bother trying to keep up with new releases this year. I don't want to be putting that pressure on myself. It's nice to talk about new books that you're excited for, that you really want to read, but out of all of them, I probably, it's only a really small percentage of them that I actually buy. So I think I'm going to be scrapping like my new release videos in the future because I never actually keep up with the new releases, and I don't really buy that many new releases anymore. Yeah, that's all I've got to say on that. I might do a video on it in the future. We'll see. Alright, so we're on to the last question, and that is, after you've bought the new books you can't wait to get to, how long do they sit on your shelf before you get to them? So this is the thing, you know, if I buy a new release, unless I'm really, really excited for it, like it's a book that I've been waiting for months and, you know, I've prioritised it, they will sit on my shelf for ages. I've got new releases on my shelf from like 2018 that I still haven't read. So yeah, I'm not gonna buy them anymore. And because otherwise they will just sit on my shelf for months and months and months. I told you at the start of this video, I'm a terrible reader. So, you know, I need to just stop making lists and just stick with the lists of books to read that I've got already. And when they're done, in a few years' time, I can make a new one. Alright guys, so those were my answers to the reader problems book tag. I will put all the questions in the description box down below for you so you can have a go yourself if you want to. I will also put the link to the original creators video down there as well as some of the other reader problems tag videos that I have watched and really enjoyed lately. Also feel free to leave comments down below just giving me any of the answers to these questions. I would love to know. Please leave a cheeky thumbs up if you like this video. Please subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos from me in the future, and I will see you all in another video very soon. Bye guys!